Hello, my name is Pekka Kähkipuro. I'm the Chief Information Officer at Brunel University London, and this presentation is about leading and organizing information security in a higher education institution. My background is coming from two different institutions, and I have seen and been operating a number of models in both of them. The information security situation in higher education is changing rapidly. Our sector is currently particularly vulnerable. There's a long history of underinvestment in IT and in cybersecurity, and other sectors have been increasing their defense, which means that we are now being targeted. The business in higher education is open by nature, and that makes already us very vulnerable. In addition, the organization of institutions is often devolved, and that creates additional weaker points of defense. And yes, we are dealing with significant amounts of money, which makes us an interesting target for criminals. At the same time, the threat landscape is changing rapidly. There has been well-designed and targeted campaigns against higher education by professional criminals. And these incidents potentially affect our finances, our operations, and even our reputation. And there is, of course, an increase in regulation. We are required to do more. Clarity is needed in a number of areas, and this is often something that makes higher education leaders perplexed. And this, of course, creates situations where a number of different options are on the table, and we will have to choose how to structure the work and what are the key elements of it. According to my experience, there are 4 main pillars that need to be addressed in the cybersecurity area, and of course a number of enablers that can be also and will have to be also addressed going forward. The first pillar is information security management system. So effectively the bureaucracy, the strategy, the governance, the policies, it's the audits, the compliance, the risk management element, and all of that together. Typically you would start looking at, for example, the ISO 27001 standard for your framework. But of course you need to select your controls from the available 114 different controls. So essentially it's important to understand what these frameworks are for, and then select those elements that are relevant for you. But this is the foundation. On top of the foundation you would need a cybersecurity platform. This is the technology layer. Typically the IT environment needs to be secure with firewalls and with other technical elements. And the cybersecurity team needs technical tools to do their work. Typically you would like to start with an architecture, not with the products. So effectively deciding what is it that you want at the technical layer, and then try and find the best product for implementing them. It's also important to remember that even some of the basic processes need work. For example, software patching is often something that needs to be addressed in order to have the technical layer in place. The third item, or the third pillar, is the operations, information security operations. And this is where the action takes place. Typically you would have a cyber security operations center where experts are concentrated, and where everything around cybersecurity is being monitored and addressed. You would probably address the whole cycle in the same environment with the same people, so effectively monitoring, detection, response to the incidents, doing penetration testing, doing vulnerability testing, etc. And then, of course, the fourth item is the data protection practice, Effectively, it means that you need to be compliant to the GDPR, but this of course means quite a lot of work. Things like subject access requests, data protection impact assessments, and awareness training. All of that will require people. And then, of course, enablers underneath are just as important. First of all, the people. There's more work to be done going forward, that's clear, and therefore you need more people. And a model that can grow stepwise is probably the best approach. There are 4 key roles to represent these 4 key pillars. So the CISO for the cybersecurity management system, the DPA for data protection, the cyber infrastructure manager, and the cyber manager for the infrastructure side and for the CSOC. Often it's a good idea to use existing people from your organization because they already know the organization and its ways of working. Often you get better results with less money using this approach. The second question is about structure. Data privacy, cybersecurity, and IT operations are tightly interrelated, and either you want to keep them under the same umbrella, often in the IT organization, or if not, then you need to build a joint governance model so that all these things can be addressed and controlled using the same principles. Change management is also important. In order to ramp up a cybersecurity capability, you need improvements in a number of areas. And often cyber and data protection people are not project professionals. Instead, you would probably need to combine changes into a single program for better coordination and use project professionals to drive the change. This is the best way to ramp up the capability. Funding is an important element as well and needs to be addressed. There's more work and therefore the cost level will definitely increase. Typically you would have these days about 5 to 8% of IT costs being related to cybersecurity. The best way to contain costs and to keep the balance is to have a risk-based approach where you are always assessing your cybersecurity measures and controls against the benefits that you can clearly see coming from them. And then finally, communications. It's an important area and should be included in every cybersecurity organization. There is a need for a continuous communications flow to all directions, both in and out from the cyber team. I hope this presentation has given some clarity to this complex topic. Thank you for listening.